You're put on a pedestal, you like it or not. People will look up to you, people will come to you, will praise you, will say, oh, Maharaj, Maharaj, Aradaka,
Very dangerous.
the bar. So how do you deal with that? How you deal with the ego that can come up to you and say, I'm actually quite good?
You know, once I was reading a Christian book, the Philokalia. Philokalia. It's a
Lives of the Saints.
The Life of the Saints, a scripture of texts of saints, of Orthodox saints for the first centuries. And then Saint said something really beautiful. He says the devil, but he was talking about temptations and ego, of course. He says, when you win a war, when you beat the devil once, don't put the guard down, because the enemy has only withdrawn his army, and he's going to come back for a stronger battle. So not because when you win one battle, it doesn't mean you won the war. And that's, for me, that's when you talk about the ego, that's it. Like, everything is happening, but I have to keep my guards up. I have to keep that awareness there. I cannot forget.
Because people will come and will come. The mission will grow and will grow. The festival will grow.
And once
YouTube views will grow.
We are lucky because pride and ego stinks for Guruji. He stinks.
He doesn't like that.
He cannot, and he.
You cannot.
Sometimes you don't know in the logical sense why Guruji is shouting at you and angry at you, but because he's doing it. And once he shouted, because of those kind of things. Actually, in Poland, he creates a situation, you know. I'll tell you the story. How Guruji teaches us.
Yes.
We were in Poland. Was an event in the Narasimha temple they had like in Krakow, and we are in the end of the event. Guruji asked us to chant the Gopi Gita.
Okay.
I forgot now the amount of verse. No, sorry, not the Gopi Gita. Sorry. We have to chant the Guru Gita. In the Guru Gita has like 100 and something verses, that version we were doing. And Guruji looked at me and said, you chant 200 and then Yashodhari chants from there on. He told me. So I heard 200. He said till 100. Okay? And then in my brain, I'm waiting for that number, 200. And I'm chanting, chanting, chanting. The 100th passes, the scripture finishes, and I don't pass the ball to Yashodhari. And he's like, what did I do? And, oh, this is wrong. And then we leave the event. The temple is in a building. There's a corridor, which is not wide. And the devotees are here. Me and Guruji and walking behind him, like through this corridor of people. And Guruji stops in the middle of these devotees and he shouts at me, are you every day becoming more stupid or what? And it was like a knife in my heart. Like, why is Guruji saying this in front of everybody? That's why he has to hurt me like that. Guruji doesn't love me anymore. He's hurting me, you know.
Victim.
You find all the stupid reasons to cry. And then he let me cook in my victim position for a while. 2 or 3 in the morning, he called me down to the room he was sleeping. And he said, oh, you're still offended, huh? And I was silent, I didn't say anything.
Very good.
It's like, look, when I shout at you, I'm not shouting at you, I'm shouting at your ego. And that was it.
This is a life hack, bro. This is a life hack.
And then nowadays, sometimes he has to shout at me for something that in the outside makes sense. Sometimes in the outside makes no sense. But everything that I pay attention is what is the trigger inside. And from this training of Guruji, you start to observe that with other people as well. Because that's the thing. You learn at Guruji, but if you don't learn with the other devotees, and then you're still in the kindergarten. When you tell me something that might be uncomfortable for me, I have to stop and, it's triggered me. It's my ego. And then put the guards up. We are kickboxers. Huh?
And how do you fight with the ego? What are your tools?
The moment you observe it, he already becomes smaller.
You have to look at it. Huh?
You don't act with it.
Good
you don't
point.
act.
Good point.
You keep quiet. You don't act because there's something that took me. I learned with Guruji, and some people learn from home. I didn't have this sort of education. I was pretty liberal and nice, and you can always say everything and blah blah blah. But it took me time to understand that when you have no ego, you don't explain yourself.
Ah, very good point.
And you don't try to correct yourself. And you don't care that much if people think that you did something wrong.
Very good point.
So when people come and accuse you, or when Guruji says that you did something that you didn't do eventually, he tested me infinite times on that. And he always, even after some point, even said, your problem is that you always answer. Your problem is that you always try to correct yourself. Until the moment that I started to, when it comes, I recognize it quick enough to stop the impulse. So that's the thing, you have to observe and train until the awareness is so fast that you stop the action before the impulse makes you act.
Yeah, makes you
before the samskara makes you act, before the ego makes you act. And then that's all.